How many of us have had a brilliant idea for a product? We may have talked about it with friends and imagined retiring on the proceeds, but very few of us have ever followed it through. I want to find out what it takes to make that leap from an idea to a real product.
He set about creating this thing in his garage.
How do you start a startup? This film will follow the story of one man who's trying to do just that.
He's one of the ones that you are so happy walked into your door, not someone else's.
It was a little rough around the edges, a little bit Heath Robinson, but it demonstrated very well what he was driving towards.
His journey will take him from Jersey to France, London, Austria, Hong Kong, and China. It won't be plain sailing. In fact, the obstacles will be greater and more numerous than he ever imagined.
There's got to be someone who wants me as a customer more than they do.
But along the way, he'll meet people who will help him.
Don't think because you've signed a drawing off or a prototype and the cost is this, that when you open the container at the other end, it's what you paid for. That's why you need people on the ground to be your eyes and ears.
And even inspire him.
We're poor. We don't have money. I really feel it's not my life. I need to learn more things. I have to have a better life.
There'll be highs.
That was an amazing day. It was just, it went almost exactly as I kind of wanted it to go.
And lows.
With that day gone absolutely perfectly, you know, literally the next morning we get this through, so it's just absolutely gutting, to be honest.
And we'll see what happens when someone puts everything on the line to turn their vision into a reality. It's February 2015 when I meet Stephen Catterson for the first time. He's about to start spending money, other people's money, and lots of it.
It got to the point I was thinking about the project every single day, and I couldn't bear to go basically another day without doing something about it. So over the course of about a week, I ordered 500 quid's worth of stuff to try and get a prototype together. It took me probably 2 weeks to first try and build it. But it was quite a feeling when I did.
Apart from a few £100 invested in components for a series of crude prototypes put together in his garage, this is the point at which he's really committing himself to making his concept a reality. This is where the risk-taking starts. The initial investment he's managed to raise is enough to put the legal framework for his business in place. It has allowed him to engage a product design agency and an electronics firm who will create the design data to manufacture his product. He's also been able to brief a creative agency who will define his brand. His investors have put a lot of faith in him.
I've got to know his strengths, if you like, and he's very focused and very committed. If anyone's going to do well, Steve will.
And it's not just his shareholders who have faith.
Yeah, the idea itself, in essence, is a simple idea. It's not overly elaborate, and I think the best products will be like that. They are simple ideas.
It's fair to say that at this point in time, everyone is full of optimism, although no one is blind to the potential problems the project is likely to face.
In the back of your mind, you wonder, has somebody else come up with this, and there's another Steve working on it somewhere else in parallel.
I'm worried that there's a parallel universe where, within this universe, where someone else is doing the exact same thing as me, and they win the race.
The recurring theme is the fear that the idea, especially given its simplicity, will occur to someone else. This story, then, is really about a race against time. So, what is Stephen's big idea?
I always listen to music whilst I'm skiing. We got to the bottom of a chairlift, and I suddenly thought, it'd be so much easier if this was just completely wireless. It was built into the helmet. The idea kind of spawned from there, and I thought about it. I came up with the idea to have a wireless set of headphones integrated into the helmet, with the kind of unique selling point of having an FM transceiver built in as well that would override your audio, so everyone in your group could communicate.
It's known technologies that have worked for decades, and pairing those with Bluetooth technology, smartphone technology of the current day.
You know, we've added helmets on heads, which ultimately has stopped us communicating. So to bring those voices back into your head and to talk to your mates while you're doing stuff is great. I love the thought of that.
It's April 2015 and Stephen is in London to visit Bunker, his creative agency, to see for the first time the branding concepts they've created for him.
Branding is much more than a logo, a colour palette, a typeface. The best analogy I can give you is a logo is someone's face, a brand is their personality.
People use products, but they buy brands. So if Stephen's helmet is to be a success, he's going to have to create a credible brand that people want to be associated with, especially in the image-conscious world of snow sports.
Okay, so this is what I'm proposing would be your brand mark. We talked about radio connectivity, basically, so we're talking about frequency. So when we go through the rationale behind this, as you can see, all these elements are coming into one visual mark. So the frequency element is a massive part of your product and what you're offering. GPS, this is actually where the shape of the icon came from, was actually the 3 satellites create a 2D perspective, so longitude and latitude, and the mountaintop. So we're talking about the piste, downhill, off-road, and that's sort of the industries that you're talking about and wanting to promote your product in. So that's the final mark that I'm proposing. With that mark, you also need a typeface and a name. So what we're proposing is LinkPro. So this is what we're proposing as the final logo. So obviously you have your brand mark and the logo typeface, and then it would work obviously on black, and then we're looking also how it could work with a white background and a colour background.
They've hit the nail on the head, and Stephen is ecstatic.
What do you think?
It was awesome. Yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon with it. I could not be happier with how that went. He's done such a good job. That's the branding done. As far as I'm concerned, he's nailed that straight away, and we're off now to see the initial concept designs of the product.
With the branding work on track, Stephen is heading to Coventa to see the first concepts for the helmet design.
So we've got 5 routes to show you today, and within those we've got 14 concepts. So the first route, quite obviously, it's all about the music. It's an audio helmet.
To the uninitiated, it might seem self-evident that cars should be designed by car designers, mobile phones by phone designers, and helmets by helmet designers. In reality, product design is a methodology, a way of looking at things and how people use them that allows a designer to turn their hand to creating just about any product.
The process is far-reaching. Depending on how small a seed we have to start with, depends on the amount of input that we need to provide. So a client could come to us with a fairly fully fledged idea to the point where they already have a prototype made. And then we need to realise that, skin it, create something that's appealing aesthetically, and deliver something that's manufacturable.
So, I mean, the looking cool part is something that we all love to do. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but there's also a lot of work leading up to it. So the product has to make sense, functional sense. It has to be usable, where buttons are positioned. Particularly tricky for this helmet, where you're potentially bumping around, going down a slope at a million miles an hour. You've got to find the talk to your friend button or increase volume, all with gloved hands, potentially in freezing conditions. So once we got a sense of what was needed from the ergonomics and usability aspects, then we could start actually putting those ideas into formed concepts.
That was an amazing day. It was just, it went almost exactly as I kind of wanted it to go. This morning's meeting was incredible. That probably couldn't have gone any better. This meeting was always going to be much more complex, but we've come out of it with loads of positive ideas. I think when you're trying to merge so many different ideas of loads of different helmets into one, it makes it really complicated. In my mind, I was kind of thinking I would maybe go in and choose one design, but actually with these things you often find it's such a merge of loads of different aspects.
Stephen likes what he's seen enough to be able to steer the rest of the design process. Time for a little celebrating. The next morning, a little hungover, Stephen receives some distressing news.
How you doing, mate? You right?
Very good, yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We've had a bit of a spanner in the works, to be honest. We've identified someone that looks like a potential competitor. The thing that everyone feared, I think, at the start of the project, and it's just frustrating because, you know, we're putting all this work into getting this to be the best product, executed absolutely perfectly, and someone's first to market with an inferior idea, well, with a similar idea, but just executed in such a poor way.
Yeah.
And my biggest worry is that they've put a good idea out into the marketplace that someone else could now potentially take and integrate into a helmet.
Yeah.
God, yeah, no, when I saw it, I just felt, to be honest, I just felt numb, because we were having that day going through the branding work, and then in the afternoon having a look at all the helmet designs, you know, and with that day gone absolutely perfectly, you know, literally the next morning we get this through, so it's just absolutely gutting, to be honest.
This is a sharp reminder that if he doesn't move fast, someone could quite easily beat Stephen to it. The best product ideas are simple ideas. The problem with simple ideas is that they can occur to anyone, at any time.